Mortar texture we said is deformation texture in which the grain size of a rock, there is a reduction in it, and as a result we call this type of texture as mortar texture. And you can see many fine grain minerals that are present in this thin section are result of the deformation, and we call this texture as mortar texture. Then comes the Decoste texture. Decoste texture actually means that we have randomly oriented minerals that sometimes are interlocking and crossing each other. For this type of texture, we have elongated minerals and long prismatic minerals, and this is common texture in rocks we call as granulite. Granulite is a metamorphic rock, high pressure metamorphism. It can show you the interlocking of minerals, and we call this type of texture as Decoste texture. Relic texture is a type of texture, as you guys know, that metamorphism is the result of there's no one. As you guys know, during the metamorphism, we have the creation and recrystallization of most of the minerals, and but there is some inherited texture. Inherited texture ऐसा है जो विरासत में मिलता है मेटामॉर्फिज्म को, लाइक कोई ऐसा टेक्सचर जो ऑलरेडी सेडिमेंट्री या इग्नियस रॉक में मौजूद था, और जब मेटामॉर्फिज्म हुआ है तो वो मेटामॉर्फिज्म में भी वो आपको ओरिजिनल रॉक का टेक्सचर दिखा रहा है। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कोई इग्नियस रॉक्स थी, तो उसमें अगर कोई क्रिस्टल आपको लैथ्स नज़र आ रहे थे, तो वही क्रिस्टल सिस्टम आपको बिल्कुल उसी तरह का मेटामॉर्फिज्म में नज़र आता है। तो ये ऐसी रॉक्स में आपको मिलेंगे जहाँ पर मेटामॉर्फिज्म जो है वो यहाँ तो मेटामॉर्फिज्म कम हुआ हो, लाइक उसका ग्रेड जो है वो लो ग्रेड मेटामॉर्फिज्म हो, और दूसरी केस ये है कि जो मिनरल्स हैं उनकी कंपोजिशन ऐसी है कि दैट दे कैन सर्वाइव मेटामॉर्फिज्म। तो इस तरह का जो टेक्सचर है उसको हम कहते हैं वेलिक टेक्सचर। Ophitic texture, as you guys have remembered that we studied the poikilocloptic texture in igneous rocks, and there was one ophitic texture in which there was more than one plagioclase crystals that they were you can see they occur as joint crystals, and they occur as grouped crystal and combined crystals, and surrounded by pyroxene crystals, and you can see there are some pyroxene crystals that are present in this thin section. So relic texture can be for igneous rocks, it can also be for sedimentary rocks. Maybe a sandstone can also have a relic texture if it is not quartzite and sandstone has been changed into meta sandstone. Intergranular texture is an example of a texture in which we have uh, crystals that seems to be having originated from one place, or the grains are very close, and this seems to be like interlinked, and the spaces between the grains are एक्चुअली फील्ड। जैसे सेडिमेंट्री रॉक्स में पोरोसिटी होती है, इसी तरह इग्नियस रॉक्स में जो स्पेसेस होती हैं बिटवीन द क्रिस्टल्स, अगर वो दूसरे मिनरल के साथ फिल हो, वी कॉल दैट टाइप ऑफ टेक्सचर एज इंटरग्रेनुलर टेक्सचर। एंड इन दिस वन we have olivine pyroxene, crystals that are actually filling the gaps between the large plagiocrase crystals. So इस तरह का जो texture होता है, we just call that texture as intergranular texture. Then comes the porphyritic texture. Porphyritic texture, आपको if you guys remember from the igneous classes, porphyritic texture में large crystals are found in a fine grained matrix, and it can occur in intrusive as well as extrusive rocks. And in extrusive rocks, we have the pieces of already existing rocks. You can see here we have a granite, and in this granite you can see large crystals that are present here in the rock specimen. And similarly in thin section you can see a volcanic rock maybe, and very fine glassy material, that is the ground mass. And then we have the bigger crystals that are the uh, porphyry crystals. So we call this texture is combined as porphyritic. Remember, this is coming under the Rayleigh texture. Reaction texture, sometime when we have the formation of new metamorphic textures at the margins of some minerals, there is sometime a reaction, or sometime the crystals they react as a result of partial melting. And we have the growth of contorted lines on this mineral, that is actually a brachio-blastic texture. And you can see these lines, they look like contours. And this type of texture we call it as halicitic texture. It is result of reaction between two minerals, can be albyde and andalusite. And this shows the line of inclusion of two minerals as a result of reaction that happen. Okay. And then as you guys remember, we discussed about, there was one texture, we call it as corona texture. The corona texture is also the reaction between a mineral and the other mineral when they are growing at the same time during metamorphism. The texture that we are going to do, the reaction rim texture is very similar to the corona texture. And in this one, and in this texture, when one mineral replaces another along its rim, suggesting a reaction between both phases, the contact between both phases are irregular. Like this was one mineral, and then this was another mineral, and you can see this brownish area is actually the reaction area between these two minerals. And as these two minerals they grow during metamorphism, and maybe due to partial melting or due to hydrothermal solutions, there is a growth of two minerals. And as a result, when these two minerals they react with each other, there is the formation of a reaction rim, and this reaction rim is present on the boundary of the crystal that has been reacted with. Atoll texture is like you can see that here we have the boundary of a mineral, and the core of this mineral has been dissolved and recrystallized with a new mineral. But you can see from the top it looks like a hollow texture with the central composition not matching the margins composition. And this is actually a texture that can also be called as zoning texture or zoned texture. And one mineral is replaced by the other mineral. This is called the atoll texture. Atoll, the shape matches to the shape of atoll reefs. And you can see here the internal composition doesn't matches with the margins. Superimposed replacement textures. These type of textures are result of events that happen after metamorphism, like alteration, weathering, or some hydrothermal fluids that happen later in the life of a metamorphic rock. And the example for this type of textures is mesh texture and bastite texture. In the mesh texture develops in serpentinites, where the needle-shaped serpentinite minerals occur in aggregates interwoven like a mesh. And you can see the crystals of serpentine mineral that occur as an aggregate, and they look like the appearance. They give you appearance of mesh-like texture, or what you can call is just like जैसे जाली होती है, so it will give you the appearance of mesh-like material. Then comes the bastite texture. Bastite texture में क्या होता है? There is one mineral that is replaced by the other mineral. So the texture or the orientation of first mineral will be maintained, and as a result, we call this type of texture as bastite texture. In as it is written in serpentinites, OPX crystals were completely replaced by aggregates of serpentine minerals. Serpentine is normally the replacement of orthopyroxene, and it retained the original layering or original twinning of OPX crystals, and so we call this type of texture as bastite texture. Hourglass texture in serpentinites, sometimes as a result of some minerals that are replaced by granular olivine crystals, and it gives rise to hourglass texture. You can see some of the crystals that creates the position of a mesh texture, as well as some crystals that look like the shape of an hourglass, the glass equipment we use to measure time. तो उसकी जो शेप है वो बिल्कुल आवर ग्लास की तरह होती है. आवर ग्लास अगर आप लोगों को पता है कि वो एक ग्लास शेप फ्लास्क होती है जिसमें सैंड होती है एक तरफ, और सैंड जो है उसको देखते हैं कि ये 1 मिनट में सैंड एक जगह से दूसरी जगह कितनी देर में पहुंचती है. वी कॉल दैट थिंग एज आवर ग्लास. तो इसी तरह अगर आप देखें तो यहाँ पर भी आपको कुछ क्रिस्टल्स हैं, उनकी जो शेप है that look like an hourglass. So it is also a replacement or a transformation type of texture that is result from the post metamorphism, जब rocks की weathering and these rocks are formed. Texture depends on shape. We have discussed some of these textures before, like porphyroblastic and porphyropachioblastic type of textures. Similarly, there is some textures that are dependent on the shape. We can also classify it. We call it as xenoblast. Xenoblast is nothing else than a crystal that doesn't have crystal faces, like an anhedral shape, and this represents a broken fragment of phenocryst or porphyroblast. So example is sapphire. You can see this crystal. It doesn't have any crystal faces. That is characteristic of a mineral. हर mineral की एक identification होती है, उसके कुछ crystal surfaces होते हैं. अगर उसके अंदर आपको crystal shapes, उसके crystal faces नहीं नजर आ रहे, it means it is anhedral. N means no crystal shape or no crystal face. Then comes the ideoblast. Ideoblast is in which you can see very clear crystal surfaces, and it's called ideoblastic texture or ideoblastic porphyroblast or euhedral porphyroblast. It's just the terminology, so you don't confuse yourself with these terms. They are very easy. As I said, blasto or blasto or blastic means anything that is related to metamorphism. Or don't confuse yourself with these terms. So it is just to, the idea is to just differentiate between metamorphic textures and igneous textures. The example for this mineral is andalusite, and you can see beautiful development of these crystal surfaces on these sides, like this side, and then this side, and then this side, and this side, and it shows you ideoblastic texture. Again, we have done some of these textures, if you guys remember, in yesterday's class, where we did some sharing textures, like the textures that are related with the fragmental and that they are a result of the cataclastic events. We call that textures as mylonite. So it is just very similar to the texture that we discussed yesterday. And here we call these textures as Ugin. And here we have a porphyroclasts of feldspar. So porphyro also means that is large crystals and clasts of feldspar. And you can see that this is feldspar crystals, and the rest of the composition is gneiss. Gneiss is basically you can say that the last stage of metamorphism. The first stage is we have shale, it is converted to slate, then slate will be converted into schist, then schist will be converted into gneiss. Or agar gneiss melt kar jaye, then you can call it as granite gneiss, and if it is completely melt, we call it as granite. Here you can see entrapped crystals of feldspar, the porphyroclast, इसको आप porphyroclast कहेंगे, and then this is the ground mass. Ground mass fine grain nice gneissic matrix है, that is also a metamorphism. So we call this type of gneisses as Uggen gneisses. We have Uggen gneisses in Sawat granite in Pakistan, an example. Concluding our textures for metamorphism, we have seen a lot of new terminology, and we can differentiate different textures based on minerals, mode of growth, and arrangement. And we can identify why we are trying to identify metamorphic textures, because we want to understand pressure and temperature conditions of a rock, and then to identify the original rock type prior to metamorphism. Blastic or blasto means that it represents metamorphic rocks that is equivalent to the igneous textures, as I said earlier. So blasto, blastic, like porphyroblastic. If it is porphyro, it means igneous. If it is porphyroblastic or porphyroblast, then it is metamorphic. Similarly, if it is pachyoloptic, then it is igneous. But if it is pachyoblastic or pachyoblast, then it is metamorphic. Remember these terms, they indicate and very helpful to identify various petrographic features, especially metamorphic rocks. And we can establish a link between the deformation and mineral growth, and then overall to understand the tectonics of the area, like for example what type of metamorphic facies you can find in Himalayas, in Karakoram range, and they will help you to understand the plate configuration. So these type of studies, they will help you. We call that subject as metamorphic petrology, and then that metamorphic petrology can help you to understand the tectonic framework of the area, and it will give you wider applications in understanding the mountain breeding processes and how the mountains were built. So this is how scientists, those guys who study the tectonics, they normally they rely on petrography, and petrography is very important. And if you identify these textures, then you make a metamorphic facies scale, just like you do in sedimentary facies. You differentiate different facies in metamorphism, and then you try to understand, okay, these facies, blue schist, high pressure, low temperature, what type of metamorphic environment or what type of tectonic environment it can form. Well, that's all for metamorphic textures.